Hello guys, how are you? I hope that everything's okay. So let's back to working. So let's start to programming. So in the last videos, we are creating our methods to convert objects in layers for models detail between entities. Okay. Um, in the other video, we are creating our repository layer. In this layer, have every operation to access the database. Okay, nice. So now we are creating other layer to access the repository because I have a part of my code that need access the database. Sorry, need the information about the product, but don't need to understand how the things are working for background to access the database, okay? Because the repository is responsible for this. So we are creating other layer for our application called services. So in my context, in my repositories, we are creating a new folder, add a new folder inside my infrastructure and receive the name of services. Okay, I could be creating the services out from infrastructure to working the same thing, but let's in this inside. Okay, the services in my model, I have this interface repository, and now we are creating the interfaces and other folder or namespace called services because I'm organizing every my interfaces inside in this namespace. Okay, so let's create our product service interface. Inside in this folder, models interface and service path. I creating a new item, add a new item. I using the type interface in the interface type receive the name is my product service. Good. In my product service, the operations to working very similar for my repositories. Okay, so I only copy this information and pass for this place, and I need to add a reference. Okay, forgot to add a reference. Very nice. So that's my contract for working to service. And now we are creating my class to implementing this interface inside my infrastructure services layer. So inside of this namespace, creating a class, the name is product service implementation. And the same way that we are using to creating the implementation of interfacing, we are using this dot point and pass the product service. And I need to add the reference control dot control dot again to implementing every interface. Very nice. Now my service is responsible to access information from my repository. So I need an object for repository to be injected for my interface. Sorry, my service class. Okay, so let's creating these objects. My ready only, and I don't using the class writing for inside. Okay, I using this contract object, my interface. So I pass the name it product repository, add reference. In this name, it's repository. Okay. So column, and I copy this because I need to implement the dependence injection. And for this, I need to create a controller. Oh, sorry. I wrote the name today. I need a constructor. Have the same name for my class. I'm passing the signature repository. I need to set up the files, the values from my repository. receive the repository. Okay, now we implementing this operation to call our operation for repository. So for creating, I pass the repository, only create. Ooh, very clear. Did something for the other method. Okay, so repository called invoke delete, pass ID like parameters. For my get by ID, that's something. My repository access the my get by ID, pass in my parameter ID, and I need to return this object. Okay, return my object for this is the same thing. So return my object repository, access the get list. Beauty. This implementation, I have my repository using the call invoke the update like the product object. Nice, very nice. Okay, so I implemented everything that I need for my service, and for completed this section, I need to implement the configuration for my startup class. So collapse everything, open the startup class, and I will going to configure services and creating this add scope and pass first my interface and the second my class. You already know this, but I need to add this reference. Very nice. So control dot from keyboard again, and I have my interface for class implemented for my service layer. Ooh. Now we have the service, the repository in my context, but we keep in receiving error from the controller. Don't desperate because we are solve this issue. Coming, okay, but now we need our last layer to implementing the across between everything. This we are creating the application layer, and that will be implementing the invoking the resource for our servicing and will be access for our controller. Okay, so application is our last layer to complete every structure that we need to implement. Okay, so I hope for you in the next video and having a good day or night, I don't know, or evening. So bye.